Hello, lovely Pisces. The image that I got this morning as I was saying to the cat, I wonder what we'll do for Pisces today. I got an image of you at a typewriter, an old-fashioned typewriter, the kind where the keys really go clunk, 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 clunk when you type. And it's like you're going at it in a frenzy, like da, 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 all of these ideas coming out of you. And as I tune into the energy of that, it doesn't feel as though it's a fantasy that you're writing or a novel that you're writing. It feels to me as though you are pouring out your story. Now, this is theoretically for the week of August 18th, but of course, you know, everybody's on a different timeline to some degree, so this may not be for you, or may not be for you now, and it certainly won't be for all Pisces. But the sense that I'm getting with this really is that it's your story, and it's almost as though you're looking at your story and you're looking at it as a third person, like, wow, and then that happened, and then that, and then this, and then that. And that's the feeling of it for me, is that it's almost as though, even though you've lived your story, now you're rediscovering it in a different way. And I'm asking the guides, what's the relevance of this? What's important about this for Pisces at this point in time? And what I'm getting with that is it's almost as though this is your way of clearing the decks. What does that mean? I feel literally I'm seeing it like layers of energy, like you might get layers in a ship, just different, I don't know, I've never been on a cruise ship, but different levels. And that as you're writing this, it feels as though, literally almost as though I'm seeing like a vapor coming up out of your body, clearing the energy with your body as you do this. Now, we know that Pisces are extremely imaginative, very intuitive, extremely artistic, because they're so tuned into that part of the brain. So this might actually be writing for some of you. It might be writing a book. It might be lyrics. It might be a journal. But the intensity of it on this typewriter says to me, it makes me feel as though this is something you could actually turn into a product that is going to be helpful to people. And I say helpful to people because it is something that typewriter I associate with a writer, with a published author. That's what I'm thinking here. And that it feels to me, however it's put out, whatever the nature of it is, the energy of authenticity is in it, which means it's not over dramatizing. It doesn't mean it means it's not over romanticizing. It means that there is an element of genuine heart communication around whatever the story is you want to tell, and that however you want to dress it. So whether or not you do write it as some kind of novel, and you don't call it an autobiography, your story will be in it in a way that is revealing. If it's a song or a lyric or a poem, then it's going to be something that's going to reach people and touch them in a different way, but that's going to help people with that emotion. It's going to bring that up. And it could even be a self-help book where you use your self-reflection as a way to communicate coping strategies, things of that nature. The cards that I pulled tend to support that idea because there's grief, forgiveness, and choose kind. And grief for me, and certainly within the context of this reading, makes a lot of sense, because it really talks about grief as being the emotion that really cracks the heart open to feel, and that it is the emotion within the energy model I use, which is predominantly polarity therapy. The idea is that grief is one of the most transforming emotions because it exposes to us, or allows us to access, the illusion of our first grief, which is the separation from Source. I say illusion because we're never separated from Source. We're part of Source. But it opens that up and allows for literally this space. Grief is associated very much with space and with higher reflection. So it really gives the opportunity for the heart to open up and really come up through the throat chakra and speak. You've got forgiveness too. which is very much a part of letting things go and letting things come up and come out. And it's an incredibly powerful energy because it's really about self-healing. And forgiveness in this case, within the context of this reading and how it's presented, it's saying, let everyone, including you, be blameless. Just for now, no matter what you know, what you think you know, there may be more going on that you don't. And that just for today, choose not to believe in blame. You can name the offense, but choose not to blame. And certainly in terms of healing and in terms of moving forward, ultimately, that's the goal, because we don't want to hold on to grudges, because that just affects our energy in a negative way. And again, the choose kind, that very much goes to me with forgiveness. So when I put this together, I could say in terms of energy, it's got the feeling of, okay, I'm rising up, I'm expanding into my heart, I'm experiencing, letting myself feel emotion in a deep way, within which higher consciousness, I can understand the nature of forgiveness. And because I'm not linked so much to my wounded self, my ego, but I'm rising up, allowing myself to feel higher emotions, and that in that energy, I can be kind. Kind meaning I don't have to blame. I can speak truth, but I don't have to do it in a vicious or blaming way. Again, all of which is healing. So Pisces, for those of you who are in this process, and I suspect many of you have been in this process already for a while, the one thing that I feel like I would like to, the one thing I am being reminded of is that part of the grief is what allows you to come up out of the drama, the romanticizing of pain, the sadness of it. I remember once, and actually it was many, many years ago, and it was a friend I had at the time who used to write poetry. And when we talked about her going into healing for herself, her comment was something to the effect, well, how can I write poetry if I'm not in pain? Which I thought was pretty interesting as a statement, because then, of course, there's a great value in staying in pain if you think your creativity is only linked to that. So what you're also getting on top of the grief card is intuition. And I love this for the two together because, of course, the frequencies are very connected. When you're allowing yourself to really truly experience grief and move through grief, you're also in that higher energy. And intuition is really letting the universe speak to you and hearing it, being able to hear it. And I'm just going to read you the intuition card because I think it works perfectly. Intuition is the means through which the universe and your higher conscious mind dialogues with you, keeping you linked to your place in the flow of life. It guides you towards your place of purpose, love, and fulfillment. Intuition is a gift offered to one and all, just waiting to be opened. As you open it, it opens you to yourself, which is what I feel grief gives you the opportunity to do as well. So for me, Pisces, this is really saying to you, for those of you who haven't started, this might be something that you want to consider. That being getting in touch with your story, being able to step back from it, to be able to watch it, notice it, see it, to choose not to make your pain grand and noble, but to really be willing to and now you get the can't and the won't card, which I love. Okay, can't is the language of a child that suggests inability and powerlessness. Won't is the language of an adult that suggests choice and therefore power. It's the ability to choose, which gives us the power to deliberately create our lives. Now, to me then, this is saying, okay, how do you want to work with this? If you do have a history that's uncomfortable, painful even, do you feel able, are you able to say, yes, I want to change this? Do you feel like you can't change it? Because if you do, chances are you're moving back into an old energy. And that's exactly the kind of thing, if you find yourself there, that's the thing to look at in terms of moving your healing forward. Now, I just want to say one more thing, because I did mention poems and lyrics and novels. It doesn't mean to say that everything that's said has to be about a great healing. Sometimes a song that is poignant and just touches, acts like a tuning fork for a painful emotion, can be extremely healing because it brings it up. So I'm not saying everything's got to be flowers and light for those of you who are creating. What I'm saying is doing it with an awareness, with authentic expression, with the desire for it to move forward and be healing, is going to really shape what you create. And it's going to shape your ability to really move out of anything else. Let those vapors that I saw lifting up out of you, lift up out of you. You know, this is a process. We are all going through it in different ways. And we all have different stages of letting energy go in order to letting energy go. Let me be specific. Letting the energy of emotion that has been holding us back go, so that we can have whatever energy we've used towards holding that emotion, and in that emotion, we can use that now for something bigger, something better. It really is a process of moving out of one frequency and into another. And we do it at our own time. And we all have our own lessons. So this is just what they're saying for you. The fact that I'm seeing you with a typewriter means, for me, and the intensity with which you're typing, means to me that for many of you, this is an ideal time for you to do that. If you're not already doing it, it might be time to consider it. Okay? That's it, Pisces. Mwah!